What's going on, everybody? I'm Jason Hall with Ride Detroit, and welcome to the e-bike experience. This episode, we're talking about one of my favorite bikes. If anybody who knows me knows that I'm into a certain brand that I love, and I don't, full disclosure, I do own a Tern HSD, which is the smaller baby brother of this, and if you want to look back, I did do a review of that last summer. But now we're gonna move on to the big boy. This thing is amazing. You can do everything on this. And I've ridden pretty much every kind of bike, even down to the unicycle. So when I saw this bike, I said, I need it in my life. So we're gonna talk about the first generation, which we happen to have one still in the shop, which is really kind of cool. But we're gonna talk about the comparison between the second generation right now, which is the 2020 that we have now. All right, so everybody, today we're talking about the Tern GSD. So let's dive right into it. I could get into a whole bunch of letters and numbers because trust me, Tern loves their letters and numbers. But I'm gonna just start you off basically. Right now, the S00LX is sort of their entry level. And when I say entry level, trust me, it is not entry level by any means. But then they've got a couple of different models all the way up to the R14 with the internal roll-off hub. Each one of these models, basically the difference between them is gonna be the nuances in the drivetrain. Okay, you're talking about standard derailleur, then you're gonna go up to a grip shifter, then you're gonna move to an internal hub, then you're gonna move to the Big Daddy, once again the roll-off. So if you really want to get into that, I can tell you a great podcast by Arlie Greenwald where she would love to hear from you and she would love for you to ask all those technical questions about each one of those motors. But for now, we tend to base ours on a little more of the experience of what we're talking about. And what I'm going to get into is my experience with the GSD. The first time I saw the GSD, I fell in love with it. The GSD stands for getting stuff done, or as we say at the shop, getting done. For those who like it, I'm sure Anthony will go ahead and bleep that out to keep us safe on the YouTube. GSD, getting stuff done. The first thing about this we're going to talk about is this thing carries up to 440 pounds of total weight. That is a ridiculous amount of weight to think about. I really can't think about too many scenarios where I would put that much weight on a bike, but I can tell you we've sold these bikes to teachers, to bartenders, and a lot of different people who are putting a lot of different weight on this, and they are maxing this thing out and pushing it. But 440 pounds of total weight. Where it really does come in handy is when you go to put another person on the back. And we'll talk about accessories, and that's another thing that makes Tern as a brand really one of the best out there is the number of accessories that this thing comes with. Another great improvement that they came up with is now they're using what's called the Bosch cargo line of motors. Prior to this, they used the performance line, which was the top of the line, but they determined that people needed more torque. If you're carrying that much weight, you got to give them the ability to get up those hills if they have two kids on the back or they've got a bunch of cement in the back. So what they did is they beefed that up, and now you're looking at 400% of total assistance. Blows my mind. 400% of your total output. So what I tell people is when they come up in the shop, if you're pedaling like this, that bike is going to want to go like this. And you're going to notice that, especially once again when you're purchasing the GSD, because I think most people who are getting the GSD are specifically getting it for the towing power. You're looking at 85 Newton meters on that. Once again, that is up from the prior model, which is kind of cool because if you look how we have this set up, this is actually a Gen 2 right here, and we have a Generation 1 still in the shop. I hear from a lot of people that it's kind of a cool, not collector's item, but there are some features that are on the Generation 1 that people still like. And so it's kind of cool that we do have one in the shop and we do have that ability to compare the two. Both of them still having the ability for dual batteries. Each one comes with a single battery, but you'll see the slot here. So if you did want to purchase that additional battery to double your range, you could do that. And doubling that, they're saying adds it, makes your total range up to 121 miles. I mean, that is ridiculous to think about that you could get that in a day. But let me keep it real with you. They tell you that it gets up to 121 because that's sort of a safe area that they live in. They don't want to get in trouble if they say it goes more, you know. But I personally know that you're probably going to get a little bit more out of that. And once you learn how to use your gears in tune with your motor and save battery here and there, you will definitely get more than that 121 out of it. And if you think about that, I'm in Detroit. That's the ability to drive to Ann Arbor and halfway back really on 2 batteries that you might have on your bike. That's insane. You stop for lunch and you're charging up and you're making it home with no problems at all. This thing fits people from 4'11" all the way to 6'5". It's got the telescoping seat post here, and it's got the ability to loosen the bars easily. And if you need to adjust, you can literally just slide that back and forth, lock that down, and now you're moving it and it's more comfortable for your height and your size. Some people have odd bodies like myself. I have longer legs. So having that ability to move those bars with the ability to move the seat post is awesome. Cool thing they did improve upon. Again, we keep talking about improvements because Tern is one of those companies that I've learned that doesn't really rest on being the best. What they do is they look at it and they say, how can we get better? And one of the places they got better is with the double kickstand. The old double kickstand, I'll be honest, worked fine for me. I never had a problem. I never had my bike tip over. But it could happen. When you're talking about putting 2 kids on the back of this, you want maximum safety. So what they've done is they've replaced that double kickstand with a heavy-duty remote-operated kickstand. So the remote now locks in. So once you pull that kickstand, if you got 2 kids, or you're loading this thing up with groceries, you don't have to worry about it tipping over at all. Okay, and the older ones you might have in the back of your mind had, okay, should I keep my hand on this? Now, trust me, you're locking this thing in, and you cannot roll away until you hit the remote to release that to go. So that added bit of security. Mwah. Thank you again, Tern, for thinking about that. What I think is awesome is they used to sell these tire covers, and they said, you know what, if you're buying this bike and you're putting kids on the back, why would we charge you extra money for something that most people are going to buy anyway? So why don't we integrate it? So they integrated the wheel covers, and another great thing they integrated is the footboards. That used to be another additional add-on, and I'm sure they've worked it into the price. So before you hit me up in the comments and say blah, 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 I'm sure they've worked it into the price that they've added these things, but just the fact that they've taken away the fact that you had to think about it is awesome. So they've integrated the footboards here. And another thing that does is that just adds strength to the frame now that you've had them welded in and they don't have to be bolted, all right? Awesome. They come with the always on rear brake light. So once you power up the bike, boom, you've got safety going. But what's even cooler is when you hit that rear brake, it will actually illuminate even brighter like a brake light. Okay, when people come into the shop, they always say, you know what, I got enough bikes, I don't need an e-bike. But we're not trying to replace your bike, we're actually trying to have you replace your car. So I think that Tern's making some really good strides at putting you on the level playing field with the cars that you're interacting with. And things like integrated brake lights make it awesome. They've got a high beam and a low beam on the front light, which you can also program through the Bosch system to stay on or turn on however you would like to do that. And now we can talk about accessories, because if you look at how we have these set up, we actually have the Generation 1 set up with a Yep Maxi seat on it. What it is these literally click in with an easy adapter right there and a strap. Not only can you fit one on there, but you can fit 2 Yep Maxi seats on these things. So now you're fitting 2 kids, yourself on this. You are really talking about commuting, all right? And that's not it. You're adding the storm box and all kinds of stuff. And if you look, we've got the transporter rack on here. And we'll go through sort of the website and we'll show you some different things that you might buy. But this is one of the things that makes Tern awesome, is the wide variance of accessories that they have. You know, you've got your 20-inch Schwalbe big bins. We did a video about Tannis liners and how they just added security and added peace of mind to your ride. So look at that video if you want to talk about Tannis armor, but you couple that with the Schwalbe Big Bin Plus and you're not going to really have too many problems unless you're riding through all glass and all nails. And if you're doing that, you should probably reevaluate where you're riding your bike. Another major improvement. So when the HSD, and I hate to be dropping these letters once again, the HSD, which is the shorter, smaller version, I think one of the main selling points was it came with a front shock, which added that comfort when you're riding around, when you're putting that kind of weight on a bike. So what did they do? Everybody kept saying, why would they have not done that on the GSD? Why would they not have done that on a bigger bike that even has more carrying weight? Well, Tern heard everybody, and what do you have? You've got the amazing Sun Tour front shock on the front now. So the whole line pretty much comes with a front shock, and you don't have to worry about that. Once again, they're taking all the guesswork out of it. So they're saying if you're looking into getting into the delivery business, or you're looking into getting into the kid carrying business, we're going to take away all the guesswork that's involved in that. We're not going to say, do you have to buy footboards anymore? Nope. Comes with it. Another thing we are going to talk about is the ABIS lock. ABIS makes it an amazing lock. I tell people this lock, they always come in and they say, I live in Detroit. That's not a good lock. That lock is not there to protect your bike full time. That lock is mainly a deterrent. So if you're unloading, loading your bike, you're running in and out of a store, you're running in and out of the house, and you don't have something to lock up to, or you don't really need to lock up to, that's a great deterrent because somebody can't roll away with your bike. Sure, they could pick your bike up and carry it away, but the odds of somebody picking up a 60-plus pound bike and running away, I would love to see that happen. We actually almost joke that if that were to happen, we watch it go just see how funny it would be. Not to say that bike theft is funny, but where I stand, I would love to see somebody try to run away with my 70-pound bike. That's all I'm saying. Don't get on me. It comes with it's a class 1 up to 20 miles an hour. A lot of people say to me, you know, is that fast enough? Trust me, there's never been a time where I need to be going more than 20 miles an hour carrying a couple 100 pounds of weight on the back of a cargo bike. Your class 1 is more than enough. But pro tip, if you are looking for that 28 mile an hour, they do make what is called the S11 HSD now, and hopefully we'll get one of those in. Hopefully we'll get one of those in, Arlie, and we can try that out, and they do go 28 miles an hour. But they don't make a 28 mile an hour GSD, and I really don't see a need for it. You're talking about the Purion interface right here, which is the one I will always say that is my go-to. It's the tried and true. I've never had problems with it. I always say that the more technology you add sometimes, the more trouble you add to your life. I've never had any problems with this. It tells me my range, it tells me my battery life, it tells me my miles per hour, and that's really all I'm concerned with when I'm riding my bike is how much battery life do I have left. So, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. In the meantime, subscribe to our channel because that definitely helps us out. And let us know if there's a bike out there that you would like us to review, or if you're a company that would like us to review something. Get a hold of us, send it to us, and we'll try to get that out to the people. All right, I'm Jason Hall with Ride Detroit. Thank you for the e-bike experience. See you guys later.